right. Hello and good evening to everyone. We're having a little bit of technical issues, but hopefully we'll get that resolved in due time. I know we have Frankie with us and she can't exactly hear us at this moment. Um, yeah, so while we try to figure it out back end, my other guest has disappeared. Okay, there you go. So she's back. Um, Welcome to Focus on the Family's Facebook Live show. Frankie, you want to try? I see that your mute button is on. Could that be a reason? I'm not sure, but you try again. Okay, so while Nikki tries to fix that back end, yes. Okay, let me just introduce them, and then hopefully at some point of time, Frankie can hear us, and he doesn't have to lip read. Okay, and then hopefully we can hear him too. Okay, but before I introduce our guests, just want to welcome all to our Facebook Live show. Today we are actually going to talk about parenting in community, and I'm sure many of us have heard this age-old saying that goes like this. It takes a village to raise a child. I guess in local context, it takes a kampong to raise a child. And of course, in our modern world where there are no more kampongs, I don't know, maybe it takes a whole HDB estate to raise our child. Okay, but we want to really find out what that really means in today's context, and particularly as we are still in this COVID-19 period, and we've been talking about how families have become a bit more isolated, and we know that parents have faced challenges. We've dealt with some of those in our earlier shows, where we shared some of our findings with regards to dads feeling stressed and a bit guilty, and moms the same, and struggling a little bit with just trying to cope with circuit breaker and COVID and all the changes that it brings. But we want to hear really about what it takes to parent in community, and what the benefits are and why we want to do that. Largely, it stems from the fact that Focus on the Family actually has done some informal polls, and from what we have found, it looks like having a community of parents to support in that journey of parenting is top 5 of what parents say they need in terms of support. Okay, so without much further ado, I'm going to introduce our guests, and hopefully our tech is all up and right today. Okay, so first and foremost, ladies go first. Yeah, we have Sue Ann with us. Sue Ann has she likes to that Sue Ann, welcome to the show. She likes to joke that she's a mother of not quite 4 but 5, is it?
Yes.
It's okay, it's only a joke. It doesn't mean that she has a strange relationship with the husband, but the number 5, because she's listened that you're the only female in an all-male household. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it must be high on testosterone. She has a baby right now. Her youngest is still a baby, and that must be quite challenging. We're going to hear a little bit from her in a short while. So that's Suen, and Suen has been a stay-home mom since number 3 came along,
Yes.
right? Before she was working with young people, and maybe that's why she still looks young. She doesn't look like a mother.
Thank you very much.
And at this time of the night, you actually look pretty good.
It's called
Right.
makeup.
And of course, we have also Frankie. Yeah, Frankie is actually a doctor, and he deals with sports. He's sports science, right? Also, he's a sports scientist, as they call it. Very unique. I think still quite a niche kind of an industry field to be in. And Frankie himself, he has also a lot of boys, right? 3 boys, right? Sons, yeah. So your wife, I guess, would be able to identify with Suen.
Yeah.
Living in a household filled with males. Okay, so you're gonna hear also from Frankie. So we have the mom perspective and we have a dad perspective. So welcome to both of you. And we want to just jump straight in, to talk about what is community for a parent, and maybe share a little bit about how or what your involvement in a and parent communities? I know you have more than one that you're involved in, but what that's been like. So maybe we start with, I don't know, Frankie, you want to start first because you said you've been involved with dads groups, particularly working with like Dads for Life, the National Fathers Movement,
Mm.
since it was started. So that would be at least 10 years.
Yeah, 10
So,
years. Yeah. Yeah, my journey is quite interesting. Actually, I was living overseas for a number of years, and I came back right at the end of 2009 when my eldest boy was uh, preparing for entry into P1. So we came back in November that year for his orientation. And incidentally, his school, Greendale Primary School, is one of the first two schools together with St. Hilda's Primary. They actually had a pre-launch of the Dads for Life program that year before it was officially launched in 2010. So when I came back to Singapore, before that we were away for 4 years with my family, and those were the early years of our parenthood, where I was very thankful that between me and my wife, we were very committed about our parenthood journey. So we were actively seeking out, finding out lots of stuff, how to be a good parent, to be a good dad, to be a good mom. And then when I came back home, when I saw that the Dads for Life program was there, I told my wife that I got to get on board. It's just so intuitive for me. And since then, I've been involved all these years trying to rally that together. And I'm really, really thankful for such a movement in Singapore. It's this movement that sort of allowed me to ride on the wave and have a very good a reason to gather dads together through the Fathers at School movement. Personally, I'm very much an introvert, so I couldn't imagine myself getting on board, trying to rally dads together. And when I started doing that, I realized that it's so powerful. It's not natural for men to come together, to want to bond with their children, to want to talk about family, to want to talk about fatherhood. It's very natural for men when they come together to talk about work, they talk about their hobbies, and then they leave the parenting stuff to the wives and all that. So I'm very thankful that my wife is a very committed mother. She's a stay-home mom since our first uh, boy was born, and that's like 18 years ago. I have three boys, they are 17, 16, and 11. So we have been journeying this together. The more I see her being so committed to be a mom, the more I want to support her to be a committed husband and father. So the Dads for Life movement came at such an opportune time. And my school is so involved, and I'm very thankful for a core group of dads till today are still hanging around with me. Yeah, and they all have 2, 3 kids. And some have already graduated the kids. My last one is still in Greendale Primary, so I'm still involved till today. So we organize lots of activities just to rally dads to come together and to just celebrate our efforts to want to be committed dads, to be involved with our children's lives, celebrate our successes, identify with each of our struggles, and those who have gone further down the road can provide advice. Those who are keen to learn can latch on. So it's an amazing journey to today. I'm still riding on the wave. So I'm still very thankful that the movement is still going strong here, and we are actually spreading the fathers movement across to many other countries beyond the shores of Singapore. So to me, that is just so awesome. I can go on and on and on. I'm so convicted about
yeah, I
our
can see.
journey. Yeah, so it depends on how much you want me to talk about. And just between me and my wife, we just spur each other on. And it's
Right.
such
So,
a joy for me to see how we can
right.
rally the dads together. It's so difficult to get men together, but when they come together, it's so powerful. When we have sleepovers with a bunch of dads and their kids, it's so amazing to just talk about fatherhood and talk about how we can be the best dad, going home to be the best husband, and just that effort and that posture to come together to
Mm,
want to be
mm,
encourages my heart,
right.
want to do even more, to rally more communities together, to connect the men together.
So as I hear it, Frankie, it sounds like what kind of started you off was that you were actually seeking for a group of parents to, in a way, like I guess, adjust back to Singapore too. Was that how it all started?
In a way, it's not me seeking a community. It's just that somehow I feel that I want to be part of a community. And once I started doing that, I realized that people are appreciative. And I see
Okay.
the joy of not just the dads, but the moms coming up to say, hey, this is
Right.
great. I
Right.
want my husbands to be more involved. Because the
Right.
idea of the Dads for Life movement is not just the dads and the children coming out to have fun, right? Is to actually get them to have fun at the same time when they are back home, they can be a better husband and a better dad in the
Mm,
family. Yeah, so that's
definitely.
the joy that has been keeping me going, and I relate that to my boys. By trying to rally men together in this movement, it
Mm,
shows it indicates to my boys that I'm trying to make an effort to help myself and to help other
yeah.
dads, and
Yeah.
we grow together as a community. Even those core dads that we've been with me for the last 10 years, till today we are still engaging one another. In fact, one dad just texted me 2 minutes ago, asking me
Mhm.
how's my youngest son, because my youngest son was admitted to the hospital 2 nights ago.
Oh
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
so
Is he
so
okay
that
now?
this, he's better now. He's resting at home. So one
Okay.
dad just texted me just a couple of minutes ago to ask me, "Hey, how's Paul?" And this dad has been journeying with me for the last 11 years,
Okay. Okay.
trying to
Wow.
help organize activities to bring other dads on board as well.
It's
Yeah.
true this sounds good that you also formed friendships with other dads, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it's
Okay.
an amazing journey.
So how did you get started? Was it also
uh,
accidental?
I guess you could say that. I mean, I have four boys. They are aged 9, 7, 4, and the youngest one is 9 months old. And I've been a working mom, full-time working mom for half of my journey, and a stay-home mom for the other half of the journey. But each step of the way, that I have found that I benefited greatly, and I really, really actually needed to have a community and support around me. I see
Mm,
community in two ways. The first one is, I guess, providing like physical support when you have play dates with your kids, when you ask for help. Oh, breastfeeding, how, formula, what should I do? And you have all these different questions. But the other part of it that has been very important for me is the emotional support as well. Because some days you really just feel like you failed as a parent, or that you're doing really badly, or you really don't know what to do. And so the emotional support um, really has been really, really needful. And at the same time, that has also, I find, is an obstacle to finding community, because you need that support. But at the same time, sometimes I don't want to admit to people that, oh, actually I yelled at my kid today. It's not really nice to say things like that. You want to appear as independent. I've got it all together. I have 4 children. I know how to do things. But that's
right.
really not true, I find. And even with one child, sometimes I was totally struggling, and actually being able to admit, to say that I need help, or
Mm,
actually people ask you, how are you? And actually, I'm not doing so well today. I find that that has been a very important part of my journey, to be part of community, and
mm,
to first admit to myself, and even have the courage to say to others that I think I need some help. Yeah, I
mm.
find that that is one of the things that we may have to overcome, or has been really helpful and liberating for me to do that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We have some viewers, of course, with us this evening. And maybe for those of you out there, we just want to welcome you to our Facebook Live show for today. We were talking about how to parent in community. What does it mean when you say, it takes a village to raise a child? And if you could, just help us, if you could put in your chat, if you were looking for a community of parents to journey with you along, this challenging yet rewarding experience of parenthood, what exactly would you be looking out for? I think we've heard from both Frankie and Swen a little bit different, right? Swen, you seem to sound like you started community with people that you know. Yeah, but it allowed you to, grow even as a mom, like you were saying, to be open and to share even your shortcomings, and then to grow with them, to have that emotional support. Frankie, you seem to have started it with strangers, but who have since become longtime friends, right? And still friends, even though there's no longer that commonality of the same school that your children go to
Yeah.
bond you together. Yeah. So maybe for the viewers or listeners out there, you could just type into the Facebook live chat. Yeah, what exactly would you be looking out for if it were you and you were looking for a parenting community? Yeah, I see one comment that talks about how parenting community is so important, especially during the initial years of the parenthood journey. I'm not sure how that was. I know I can so resonate with you when you talk about even breastfeeding and how come like that. Yeah, I don't think that's exactly the same when it comes to the dads. But I really appreciate you, Frankie, saying that you just seeing your wife being in that situation makes you want to contribute more and be more involved, to balance it off to support her. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, thank you so much. I'm seeing comments like, for parents to help them with regulating their children or correcting their children. I suppose that's what it means. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what for you has been the real benefits of a parent community, and since both of you seem to, I mean, you've been very experienced in being in a, you lead it, right? Or facilitate it. I don't know what you call it, whether you lead or facilitate it. Um, yeah. What have you also seen as the benefits that other parents have experienced? Is it similar benefits for all?
For me, because I have three kids, and I'm always thankful that I have three because they are all different, right? And yeah, the first one is relatively intelligent, but he's very strong-willed. My second one is the one that has special needs. He has ADHD, he has ASD, he is dyslexic, but he also has his you know cheerful side of him. But of course, he has a lot of deficits. My third
Mm,
one is very sensitive, also currently having some fear and anxiety issues. So they're all varied, and that really humbles us as parents and as a dad. So we get to see the various aspects of our children, and then we look at our own parenthood, and it allows us to naturally share our challenges and also start to identify with the challenges that other parents, other dads face. So knowing that all these challenges can be helped when you're connected to the community, and that's what gives me and my wife the impetus to reach out.
mm,
Knowing that if we struggle, that knowing that we are very committed in our journey, all the more other couples will either struggle the same or even worse. So then,
mm,
as we engage, interestingly, as you give more, you receive more. Yeah. Sometimes when you feel that you're tired, you feel that you should hunker down and just go in your hole, struggle yourself. You don't even have time to get your act together, how to help others. But interestingly, when you start to reach out and help others, you will receive back more.
mm,
Somehow you get the energy, somehow you go and research more, you go and find out more, and then you grow towards to be a better dad, better mom, you know, year on year, and then that's when you can reach out to even more. So the community grows to many different groups, you know.
mm,
Yeah, so then that really empowers you and enables you. The
mm,
connectedness is really key. And I'm always very thankful to be considered a heartlander, living in an HDB in Pongo, and the community is just nearby, even with our Fathers at Green Deal program, all the activities that we organize, we can just reach out to them. We can meet up at the coffee shop, collect money from them, meet up with them over coffee, and they are
mm.
all just in a community. And then you go to the shops to buy stuff, you see a fellow that in the same school. That closeness and connectedness is just amazing. And then when you walk along the road, someone drive past, wind down the window and say hi to you. Thanks
Right,
for organizing activities for us. And it really keeps you going.
right.
That's
So that's
a
really
lifestyle.
kampong spirit, right?
Yes, yes. The doors are open, the hearts are open, and people are willing to share, willing to just bear themselves. And sometimes when I organize activities, when you hear of the stories from dads, there was one time I organized a sleepover in school, and one dad shared with me in the middle of the night. It was 2 a.m. and we were both not sleeping. And I chatted with him, and he said that he works in Indonesia and he comes home only once or twice a month. And for that particular sleepover weekend, he actually timed it such that he's back at home. When I hear stories like that, it really warms my heart. It makes me
Mm,
want to cry with him. And such a simple act of organizing a dad's activity gives him the opportunity to arrange his schedule so that he can be there in Singapore just for a weekend to sleep over with a child in school. And that could be a forever moment for him and his child and his family. And that's
mm.
what it takes, to keep us all going.
Right. And so you've already like, in fact, you've graduated. So it's not just like what you are personally getting out of the community of dads, but like you said, right? You're as you build, and now you're contributing, to the community, to other dads, and just
Yes, yes.
walking, you seem to have
Mm,
a lot of fulfillment doing that as well, and encouragement
yeah,
on your own journey. Yeah.
exactly.
So, maybe this one more for you because we asked, right, the viewers, like, what would you be looking for? They were looking for a parent community. And I think this is who says play dates. Play, I guess, for the kids, yeah. Maybe play dates for the moms. I don't know. But yeah, play dates for kids so that they're able to pick up different social skills. And for the moms, especially stay-home moms, the emotional support that I think you referred to earlier, Steve. So maybe describe a little like in the benefit, of being in a community for you.
Sorry, could you repeat that again? I didn't catch it.
No, what have been the benefits of
Oh,
being in?
benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, when I first uh, started to be a stay-home mom, I was actually uh, a bit scared. I was like, who am I going to talk to all day? I just have to face the children. You're used to having colleagues or, having different conversations. So I was very thankful to be able to make friends with my children's parents. Yeah, and I think that has been having other conversation has been the real benefit of being part of community. I think as a stay-home mom, it can be quite isolating, and even in COVID. Yeah, so really thank God for WhatsApp, yeah, and things like that because um, people always say, what do stay-home moms do, right? Because we have all this time. But actually, you will find that I don't really have that much time. So having WhatsApp and these communities have been really helpful. And talking about social skills for the kids, um, like I really see that in organizing play dates for my kids. Sometimes I wonder, oh, actually I got so many kids, maybe don't need to organize, right? But actually I do find that it's been helpful both for my children as well as for myself. Yeah. So I actually, because my second son doesn't, when he was in kindergarten, he didn't really seem to have many friends or people he talked to. So I had to be a bit more intentional to ask him, okay, which friend do you want to play with? And it was a little bit daunting to text a total stranger from the parents, class chat group, to text a stranger, hi, this is my name. And would your son like to have a play date with my son? I have no idea what you look like. I have no idea what you do. I don't know whether we have anything in common at all, but let's meet anyway. Yeah, so that was quite daunting and scary. But I see that it has benefited my son because I think from having these play dates, he has grown in his ability to interact with other children. And now that he's in primary one, and then he talks happily about the friends he meets in school, I feel a bit more assured about his social skills and all. And yeah, and I mean, you won't become best friends with every parent that you meet and all, and that's okay. That's why I say there are different types of communities. Some communities primarily for your children, and some for myself.
Sounds like it. So now I'm just reading some of the comments that are coming in our Facebook, and if a parent out there is keen to join a parent community, what would you suggest they do, or where do they start or go?
Uh, okay, if I answer first, I think I would say start where you are at. Yeah. So wherever you're comfortable, maybe you are comfortable, you can, if for new parents, sometimes they have this Facebook or WhatsApp groups on when is your due date. So I know there's a group that's called December 2020 Mummies because they're all giving birth in December, and all the mummies will join this WhatsApp group and then they exchange information. And if that's good for you, so go for that. But that was a bit overwhelming for me because I think it's too many people and too much information. So I started with one or two friends that I talked to, or even neighbors, like what Frankie said about the neighborhood neighbors. It takes a little bit of bravery for sure because it's new, right? You don't have that community yet. It needs a little bit of courage to do something a bit out of the norm for you. Yeah, so I think start small where you're at and just give it a try.
It sounds like for us parents, we have to be as bold and courageous as we hope our kids will be when it comes to making friends.
Yes, totally agree with you. When my wife started staying home and our first boy was born, similarly she started gathering moms just by meeting them in the playgrounds. You see moms having kids in the playground a day, most likely they are stay home, and then you start to gather them, and then you start to bring them into the fold, and that's how you grow. Yeah, so the easiest way is to start in the community where you live, or where your kids go to school, or maybe through some special interest groups. Yeah, things like that. Naturally, that areas that you spend a lot of time in, and you can naturally gravitate towards. And I guess all it needs is one or two people start reaching out. More people will come along the way, because there are people who are looking for it, but they just do not know how to ask,
Mm.
perhaps.
Yeah, I guess sometimes we think that community will come to us, if we are looking for community, but even if it is right in front of us, we kind of have to still take that first step, right?
Mm.
From what I'm hearing you guys say. Frankie, just now you mentioned that one of your boys, your sons, has a special needs. Is there like a special community, that helps you to journey with parents whose kids have different kinds of special needs?
Yes. So my second one has ADHD. We diagnosed him when he was kindergarten, just before he entered primary, so that we have sort of some sort of formal evidence, so that we can use that as an entry a conversation with the teachers, because we try to equip ourselves so that we can actually talk to his teachers. Yeah, interestingly, a lot of the educators may not be as well equipped as well. So by helping ourselves, we also try to help others. And
Mm,
and we are thankful, because when we uh, found out about SPARK, which is a Society for the Promotion and Awareness of ADHD Research and Knowledge, we latched on to it very quickly. It's been around for more than 2 decades. Is very well nationally run by volunteers who all have kids, children with ADHD,
mm,
and it's a lifelong journey that you struggle through. Something which is not so well known, is considered an invisible illness or disorder, because you still send them to mainstream school. They are still in mainstream. They go on to work in a normal environment. But they are not as normal in that sense, or special. So because of that, we have been very involved with Spark. Now my wife is actually doing a lot of voluntary work through Spark to reach out to parents. Um, Naturally, when it comes to parenting workshops and sharing sessions, a lot of times the mothers are the one to step forward. So I try to come into the picture, to come alongside her. So when I do that with her, I encourage the wives to bring their husbands along as well, and we find that it's helpful. Yeah, so that's been a big part for us in more recent years, where we find that we can start to spread our load across. So the special needs community becomes something that is very big for us. And
mm,
interestingly, we realize that a lot of parents start to come forward to want to learn about parenting when they have kids with special needs, which
mm.
actually a lot of the parenting tips and knowledge is the same for whether you have kids who are,
Right.
neurotypical, you
Just
know.
on, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just that when parents are desperate, then they will start to seek out, unfortunately. Yeah, but we see that as an opportunity for us to reach out. So
Right.
now I'm starting to see if I can create dedicated workshops just for that. We tried that once, and we hope to do that more again. Yeah,
I guess like you
reaching
said,
out.
when people are looking for community, they're also looking for parents who share some commonalities in that journey.
Yeah,
And even like you said, if the the needs or the parenting so-called techniques
yeah,
for a child with special needs versus a child that does not have special needs could be well the same, but I suppose it gives them the feeling that they're not alone, even as they struggle with the fact that their child has special needs. If they knew that the other parents they hang around with, or in community with also have kids with similar challenges, right? Yeah.
because the key is actually the parents. The key is not the child. Sometimes a lot of parents see that, well, my child has special needs, so I must go all out to seek diagnosis and treatment for the child. But actually, it is the parenting that is important because you help to manage the condition. You need to have the knowledge and you need to have the know-how, the strategies, the patience, the love to go alongside them. It's not so
Mm,
much seeking out treatment for the child independent of your parenting. So we try to shift the spotlight onto the parents. Yeah.
right. So actually, parenting community, is it more for the parent or for the child that you encourage, parents to look for a community of other parents to journey with and to, share their lives with? Maybe we can also hear from our viewers on our Facebook. You can just type in parent or child, or maybe neither or both. Yeah, but as our viewers are doing that, please feel free to type. Okay, we are looking through the comments that are coming in through our Facebook live chat, and of course at the same time, if there are questions, we can field them to our guests today. But what do you think? More for parent or more for child, that we should actually take this mandate or this saying about how you need a village to raise a child seriously?
For me, I feel that it's for the parent. I always come from the parent's perspective because I feel that if the dad is enabled and empowered, the child or the family will be enabled and empowered. Yeah, so that's the key. So when I organize father-child activities, I always recognize the dad's name first. Sometimes the dad will push the child forward, say that I come for this activity or this event because I just want my child to have fun.
Right.
So I
Or
say,
they
no, no,
themselves, I'm so and so's daddy, or I'm so and
yeah.
so's mommy.
So I say, no. This is a dad's movement. This is a father's movement. Our focus is on the dad because we want to equip you, with the knowledge, with the conviction, with the commitment to be a good dad. And if you do that, then your child will benefit from you a lot more. It's not
Right.
about pushing your kid to the front and sending your kid to another class, another session, another fun thing, and then you sit back. Yeah. So the idea is we want the dads to step forward. Yeah.
Right.
It's a movement to encourage the dads to be aware of the importance of fatherhood, and then you commit yourself to acquire the tools so that you can help to transform the lives of your kids and your family.
Then what about you? What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on?
I agree. I think it's primarily for the parent. I think the children are the will benefit, but side as a side lah. But the parents are the main beneficiaries, I feel. And as the parents benefit, I think the children do benefit as well. I mean, one
Right.
of my hopes also as parenting in the community, and I'm not sure whether Frankie you can tell me whether this is true or not. Like I hope also as we parent in community, our kids will also make friends with other adults besides just my husband and myself. Because I think that one day when my children are teenagers, especially boys, right, they're not going to come to run to mommy, this is a problem I have. They may want to speak to another adult. And
Right.
hopefully by the time they're maybe 15, 16, 18, they have cultivated friendship with adults that I trust. And they
Yeah.
feel open to share problems with someone else that I trust. And hopefully will give them good advice rather than seek it out on social media or, strangers and things like that.
Well, that's very far-sighted thinking, and I'm quite sure it comes from your experience working with young people, right?
I fully agree with you.
You fully agree.
Yeah, I saw group that their kids have graduated and then they still come back to help me run some
Yeah.
father-child activities because they see me as a dad, as a father figure that can lean on, they can trust, and happy to, co-join me to come back as an alumni to run, programs in the school. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
my dad friend may not be available, and then they will just send the child to come alongside me to help me run the activity, for example. So to me, that's amazing.
Mm.
That's really
I
like a
think
village, you know?
our Facebook followers are agreeing with you guys. There's even a parent that says 65% parent, 35% child. I don't know that there's like such exact figures, but before we try to sort of bring this to a landing. I wanted to just come back on what you guys said about the need for us as parents sometimes to take that first step. I think that first step can be quite daunting, or it can be a bit awkward. Like Sven, even as you were sharing how you WhatsApp a stranger to arrange a play date. I don't know, maybe those of you out there, you can give us a thumbs up if you would do that. You see yourself doing that, or like maybe a shock face if you don't think that you would be able to, come to terms with yourself on that. Yeah, but how do we? I mean, I'm sure in a parent's mind there will be so many concerns, or maybe we might, I don't know, pick up parents whose kids might end up being the bully of our child. You know, yeah. How do we address some of these concerns? Are they unfounded? Are we just like thinking the worst? Yeah, or are they, obstacles that we need to learn to overcome so that we recognize the power of being in a community as a parent? Both of
I
you.
do think that one of the key things about parenting a community is about giving and receiving help. And I mean, you never know why a child is a bully, right? And if you can be a parent who can give help to another parent whose child is a bully, or if my child is a bully and I can receive help from another parent in community, I think that is the beauty of community, because we all have our parenting blind spots and we all need help. None of us are perfect parents. And more than just, as a place for me to whine or complain, I find that parenting communities spur me on to be a better version of myself, a better parent. They encourage me, share tips, and yeah, not all solutions that work for one family will work for mine, but you know that you're not alone in your struggles. And I think that is the essence of community, is going through the good times and the difficult times together, and accepting each other and each other's children.
It's kind of recognizing that, like it goes, right? No man is an island, and we might think that we are self-sufficient, but we never know. And if we are really truly looking out for our child's best interests, we do need to recognize that to some degree, having other people around is important. Frank, want to add to that? Or?
Yeah, I feel that parenting is a very challenging journey. Fatherhood is a very challenging journey. So every time when I connect with a dad, and always feel that the conversation goes deep very quickly if you talk about family. It's easy to talk about work and hobbies and all that. So I tend to trust men and dads if we can come together to talk about family, and the conversation goes deep and it's very genuine. Yeah, that's something which I feel that is very powerful. Somehow, like I said, family life is something that is so unique, right? And in this day and age where in a fast-paced society, you tend to outsource, and you outsource, then everything is very mechanical. You can send your kids to the best tuition center, to the best ballet school, so on and so forth. But if you can just settle down and start to engage one another to talk about the day-to-day parenting, that's when you can get deep and get close very quickly. So if you relate that to coming together to have play dates, or coming together to share and come to each other's home, I think it's easy to trust, it's easy to go with it, in my opinion, if we can get engaged about family life, about parenting, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so that's something which I find that is hard to come by, and every opportunity that I have, I'm always very thankful. So every event that I organize, I always tell the dad it's so powerful to have a whole bunch of dads coming together with the children. Sometimes the moms want to tag along and say, please don't, because if you're around, then the dynamics is very different. Yeah. Yeah. So there is a place for that. Sometimes we have a 2-day camp, and then we will invite the moms and the other siblings to come at the end of the 2-day camp, and that's like a celebration dinner where the dad and the child that is present in the camp can present an item or share their love publicly, so that in the presence of the moms, that is very powerful. But having the mom to come at night, to look see, it doesn't really help. Yeah, because we want the dad to really engage the child one-on-one, and the dads to engage the dads. Yeah, and that's really powerful, because like I say, it's a rare opportunity lah. Yeah, as a man, I feel that way. So the more I do it, the more I get the affirmation as well, and a lot of mothers will agree, and that's what we should do more, I think. That's why I'm very glad that the fathers movement is still going strong here. I would personally encourage more schools, more workplaces, more communities to engage that movement. And I find that the movement is good because it gives you a reason to ride on the wave. If there's no movement, it's hard for you to come up with something, right? Yeah. Now we also have Moms for Life. Yeah. So it's another movement for the mothers to ride on as well. But I want to champion the dads, because the father side is always lacking. Others are naturally very much, you are very natural into nurturing your kids. Even if you're working, when you come home, you still want to nurture your kids. You feel guilty if you can't find the time. But men, if you're at work, you're busy, you come home, you tend to put things aside. So we need that nudge from one another to say that, hey, even if you're busy at work, you need to reserve yourself, to give yourself that buffer when you come home. You need to attend to your family, you need to attend to your kids. So it's just that simple step to be involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
To be involved.
Yeah. Well, we gotta wrap this up for today. But if you're out there and you've never experienced what it's like to parent in a community, today we want to encourage you to do so. Whether it's to join a formal parent community or an informal one, or to take the first step to even start one by inviting people to your home, parents of your children's friends. We hope that you'll get in touch with us if you have been trying to find one that kind of suits your needs, but you haven't been able to place it. I think there have been quite a number of different kinds of parent communities out there that have been mentioned by our guests today. So do get in touch with us if you need more resourcing, need more help, need us to point the way. And before we go off, I just want to give a chance for a last word for both our guests, Sue Ann and Frankie. Just to encourage, the parents out there who maybe still haven't crossed that bridge of making the first step, which seems very daunting. It could be, right? And yet, I know, it's we know from data when it's anonymous, that parents are looking for a community, even where they can learn from other parents. It's almost like a free parenting workshop, or parenting program, because you don't have to pay. You just interact and you learn from other parents. But just to encourage our parents, what has been your biggest takeaway, from being in a community of parents?
For me, is to encourage all dads to connect. Yeah, for me, I'm an introvert. I can connect, so I believe anyone out there can do it. You connect either to ask for help, or you connect to offer help. So in any way, you can connect. Yeah. So if you feel that you are on top of things, all the more you need to connect and help others who are not on top of things. And if you're not on top of things, then you should actively seek help, so that you can continually get better, to be a better dad, so that you can support your wife, you can support your family. Yeah. So go for it.
That's powerful coming from an introvert. Sven.
I think, parenting in a community, it takes time to build friendship and trust. And you need to be a little brave sometimes, a bit like dating, all those years ago. You need to put yourself out there a little bit. But really, I think, I think it's really worth the effort, because, at the end of the day, you are not alone. Whatever challenges you think they are facing, there's another parent out there who's facing the same thing as you, and you can encourage each other along the journey. Yeah, parenting is a long, long road for us. So I think it's very important to know that we are not alone.
Right, and we can get all the help that we possibly might need, right? If you're willing to just reach out. So if the introvert can do it, So can all of us. Thank you both so much for spending time with us tonight. I want to thank also our viewers out there who have been, faithfully following us on our Facebook live shows. Do leave in your comments. What other topics you'd like us to address, or guests that you might like to see on the show. And with that, we want to just once again thanks to Anne and Frankie for taking time out of their male-dominated household. Particularly, I have to give it to you, Sven. I did hear your baby cry just now, but you were totally unfazed and yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's for life. My husband is managing him.
Together, then we have a 7-man team.
Have you combined? All right. So thank you so much for being with us, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks, Frankie. Thanks, Suen.
Thank you.
Thank you.